Hey everyone, I hope you all are safe and doing good. So in the series of learning Python programming language, in the previous video we have seen what is polymorphism. That was introduction to polymorphism, right? And in that video I have told you there are 4 ways, like how to implement polymorphism using 4 ways. First is duct typing, method overloading, operator overloading and method overriding. So in this video we will see the first way, that is duct typing in Python. So what we will see in this video? First of all, what is duct typing? Okay. What is this feature and why we use this feature duct typing, and how we can use this feature to achieve polymorphism, to implement polymorphism in our program, right? So first, this term duct typing basically comes from an old sayings, and that is, if it walks like a duck, swims like a duck, quacks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. Means if it is a known duck entity, if there is a bird which is not actually a duck, but if it swims like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, then we can consider it as a duck. Means it probably is a duck. Means we are judging that you can say the bird based on the behavior of that bird, right? Like, okay, let's take one simple example. Suppose there is a boy, and suppose Rahul, and he is not so innocent boy, like he is having a girlfriend. He is not so, you can say, sheriff type of boy. And someday, like his parents decided to get him married. Okay, so like ladki walas are coming to see him. Obviously, at that time he'll behave like an innocent boy, like he's very sharif. Okay. So based on the behavior at that particular time, or during that time, maybe during 1 month or 2 months, because it's not that directly ladke walas come and next day you'll get married. No, it will take some time, 1 day, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months or 6 months. But during those months, obviously he will behave like he's very sharif. He didn't have any girlfriend, right? So based on that behavior, like maybe from the parents of girls or the ladki walas think boy is innocent, ladka bahut sharif hai. Okay, but actually he is not so sharif. So we are judging based on the behavior. We are judging Rahul based on the behavior during that time. Okay. I hope you are able to relate this concept with duct typing. Okay. Okay, if not, we'll discuss this thing with the help of an example. Now, why basically this duct typing feature is used? Why? So in Python programming, this duct typing feature is used. Basically, it allows the data types to be dynamic. I hope you have heard these two terms, dynamic typing and static typing. If not, okay, let me just clear first of all these things to you, these two terms, static typing and dynamic typing. We'll see this thing with the help of example. Okay, once it is clear to you, then definitely we'll get it. What is duct typing and how we are going to use this duct typing to achieve polymorphism. Okay, now let's do practical. Okay, so in this polymorphism demo project, let's create a new file and duct typing.py. First, let's see the difference between static typing and what is dynamic typing. Okay, so I want to define a function that will find out square of a number. So how to define in Python? Def name of the function, and I'm going to pass one argument. Okay, and this function is returning like x into x square, right? And we are calling this function square, and I'll pass suppose 5. So it is going to return, so obviously you have to print that value. Let's run this and it will print what? 25. See, it is printing 25. If I pass 5.5, a floating number, let's run this, 30.25. So see, if you pass integer number, then also it will give what you can say square. If you pass float, then also it will give float. Here you don't need to specify the type of this x, like int and float. If you pass int, according to int it will accept int and accordingly it will return the result. If you pass float, it will accept float, right? And the x type becomes at that time float and it will return the result accordingly. It is in Python, it is dynamic typing. Dynamic typing means you don't need to specify the data type of the variables at compile time. Okay, at run time it will distinguish the data types, because when you are passing 5, then at run time it will check, okay, it's 5 means integer, so x is now integer. It's 5.5, then okay, it's float, then x will become float. But it's not the case in like C and Java. There, when you are defining a function, like let me just tell you here what would be the syntax there. Square, and then you have to specify not int, float x. Okay, we are accepting a type float and it will return a float value, and thereafter that in these obviously we will return x into x, something like this, and semicolon obviously. So these kind of syntax we have in, we can say in C or we can say in Java. If you want to find out square of int, then you have to define one more function, and there rather than float you have to replace this with int. So here we are defining in Java, suppose, or in C, let's take, C is also static typing, you have to define 2 functions, but in Python only 1 function is sufficient, because these languages are static typing, means you have to specify the data types before use. At compile time only you have to specify the data types of the variables, right? But here no need to specify the data type. That is why it is dynamic typing and it is type of static typing, when you tell the data types of your variables and methods at at compile time only. I hope you got the difference between now static typing and dynamic typing. So Python is a dynamic type language. Okay. And basically this feature duct typing allows Python to support data type to be dynamic, allow Python to be a dynamic language, in which the type of the variables, or you can say we are dealing with objects now, and object will create from class. So you can say the type or the class of the object doesn't matter, but what matters is what? The methods it defines, the attributes, the methods, right? So let's take one example of duct typing now. So basically the main reason to use this feature duct typing in Python is what? To support dynamic typing. Okay, let's say we have a class duct. Simple example I'll take, right? And let's have 2 function here. One is walk. Okay, let's take not walk, let's take swim. And one function, let's take speaks, quack quack, how it speaks, something like this. So we have one class this. Let's have one more class. I have a class dog, right? So in dog also I have one function swim, and same second function also I am having here speaks, and that would be like maybe woof woof. 2 classes we have. Okay, now duck class is different, dog is different, but both dog and duck can swim as well as speaks, right? So if I define any random function, suppose I am defining anything, display or catch or anything like display, this function is outside of these classes. Okay, and in display what I am going to call the object of any class, maybe it's duck or dog. Okay, so if I want to pass like duck object, let me just clear out this thing. First I'll be passing like duck means any object I'll pass, and name I'm taking the parameter name duck only. Okay, and using this object I'll call duck dot swim, this function, and same second function, and this one print like information displayed. So let's create an object of duck class first. So I'm creating like duck, name of the object is duck, name of the class is capital D, DUCK, right? So I'm calling this function now display, and I'm passing the object of duck. Object name is what? DUCK only. You can take different name as well. Here I can take D. So I'm taking suppose D. Just pass D here. Okay. Let's run this and see. See. I'm a duck, I can swim, quack quack, information displayed. Means swim and speaks, both functions of this object is from duck class. So these two would be called. Now it's not like that I can pass only duck, like object of duck class. If I create object of dog class, like dog is equal to dog, and now I am passing this object dog. Let's run this. See, I'm a dog, I can swim, woof woof, information displayed. Any object you can pass. So I have told you in duck typing, the type or the class of the object doesn't matter. What matters is what the methods it defines, the attributes. The object I am calling from dog class, so this object would be passed dog. So it will check on this object whether you have defined swim method, yes. Whether you have defined speaks method, yes. Then it's fine. It will call these two functions. Class doesn't matter. It's not like that only duck class object would be called. No. Type doesn't matter. Okay. So here rather than duck, we can take any name like obj. And if suppose let's take another class. We have a class person, and there also I have speaks, blah blah blah. But person is not having swim method, right? So after this class we are having this display. Now let's create an object of person class, and this time I'm not passing dog, I'm passing person, P. Let's run this. See, person object has no attribute swim. When you're calling this obj.swim, because in person class when you call P, then here this object become from the class person. So on this object, have you defined swim method? See in this class, no, we have just defined speaks. That is why it is giving an error. So Python doesn't care about the class of the object in order to call an existing method on the object. If that method is defined on the object, it will be called. Class doesn't matter. Whether it's class, it's a person class, dog class or duck class. If method is defined on that object, it will be called, right? That is why I have told you, if it swims like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. Maybe it is a non-duck entity, maybe it's not a duck, it's some other bird, but it is behaving like a duck, means it probably is a duck, right? And this is possible. This is possible because of the dynamic typing. We have dynamic typing in Python. The type of the variables, or you can say the classes of the object, doesn't matter. At compile time we don't specify the type of the variable, the data type of the variable and all. The data type of the variable can change accordingly at runtime. So we can say Python is a duck typing language. It means data types of the variables can change as long as the syntax is compatible. Here we are not having variables, we are having objects. So the class of the objects can change as long as syntax is compatible, means as long as the methods are defined on that object, right? So the first time we can call this display function, let's suppose with the help of D object, duck object, then call this display with the help of dog object, pass dog, and then pass person P. Let's just call this at last, otherwise at first it will give error. So first we are calling with the duck object, then dog object, then person object. So what output you should get? See, using duck object it is running, using dog object also it is running completely fine, but using person object it is giving attribute error. Person object has no attribute, swim. Or rather than just defining this function outside of any class, we can take one more class, and within that class also you can define a method, and there you can pass object. That is also fine. Like I am defining a class, maybe demo. In class we have this method self comma an object we are passing, and same thing we are passing. So let's run this. Okay, now the display is not defined. Okay, we are not having this display now, we are having this in class. So with the help of class object we can call this display. So let's create a object of this demo class, and with the help of this object we call this display. See now, for 2 it is running fine, but in person it is giving same attribute error. So like this also you can, this type of example also you can take within a class of method, right? So I hope you got now what is duct typing. So I hope you got what is duct typing and how we use this thing to achieve polymorphism. Now in the next video we will see operator overloading maybe. So now we'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.